Look around you. The most powerful people, the most successful ones, do you think they are the smartest? The most talented? No. They are the ones who believed in themselves when no one else did. Confidence is not something you wear. It is something you breathe. It is the difference between a life of mediocrity and a life of greatness. You can have intelligence, beauty, skills, but if you lack confidence, you will always be second to someone who dares to believe in themselves more than you do. So today I'm going to tell you exactly why confidence is everything and how to cultivate it within you like an unstoppable fire. Most people misunderstand confidence. They think it's about standing tall, speaking boldly, or dressing sharply. They assume confidence comes from achievements, education, or social status. But let me tell you something. Confidence is not a skill you learn. It is an energy you radiate. It is not about how you look. It is about what you believe about yourself. Have you ever walked into a room and felt an undeniable presence? Maybe it was someone who wasn't the loudest, wasn't the richest, wasn't even the best dressed, but somehow they commanded attention. They didn't have to announce their importance. Their presence did it for them. That is confidence. It is an invisible force that people feel before you even say a word. It is the difference between being noticed and being overlooked. Now, let's flip the situation. Have you ever seen someone who has everything on paper? Good looks, qualifications, talent, but somehow they blend into the background. They hesitate when they speak, their eyes dart around seeking approval, and their energy feels uncertain. You sense that they don't believe in themselves, and because they don't, neither does the world. This is why confidence is not about external factors. It is about internal belief. Imagine you're at a marketplace and two vendors are selling the same fruit. One vendor stands tall, looks you in the eye and says, "This is the best fruit you will find. Fresh, delicious, and worth every penny." The other vendor mumbles, hesitates and says, "This is good too. I mean, if you want it. Which one do you buy from?" Both have the same product, but one is sure of its value while the other doubts it. And you, like most people, trust the one who is confident. This is exactly how life works. Confidence is an energy that decides how people perceive you. Before you even open your mouth, your energy speaks for you. It tells people whether they should listen to you, trust you, respect you, or ignore you. It tells people whether you are worth their time, their opportunities, their investment. And the truth is, most people don't even realize how much their energy is sabotaging them. Think about job interviews. Two candidates walk in with the same resume, the same qualifications. One speaks with assurance, meets the interviewer's gaze, and believes they are the right person for the job. The other fidgets, second guesses their answers, and hopes the interviewer likes them. Who do you think gets hired? It's not just about experience, it's about presence. Employers, like everyone else, are drawn to those who exude certainty. Look at relationships. Have you ever wondered why some people attract attention effortlessly while others feel invisible? It's not about beauty or charm. It's about how they carry themselves. A person who believes they are valuable, who knows they are deserving of love and respect, radiates an energy that draws others in. But a person who doubts themselves, who seeks constant reassurance, who feels unworthy, repels people without even realizing it. What about success? There are thousands of talented people in the world who never reach their potential, not because they aren't good enough, but because they don't believe they are. Confidence is the bridge between potential and achievement. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the confidence to use it, it is wasted. Meanwhile, someone with less talent, but unshakable belief in themselves, will rise, will take opportunities, will push forward, and they will succeed. Now, you might be thinking, but how do I gain this confidence? The first step is to understand that confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you decide to have. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You simply need to tell yourself, I am enough. I am capable. I deserve to take up space in this world. And then you act as if you already believe it. Because here's the secret. Your mind follows your actions. If you walk, talk, and behave with confidence, even when you don't feel it yet, your mind will eventually catch up. Confidence is not built in a day, but it is built in daily choices. It is built when you stop apologizing for existing. It is built when you stop doubting every word you say. It is built when you stop waiting for approval before you believe in yourself. It is built when you decide that you are worthy, whether the world agrees or not. So, the next time you walk into a room, remember this. You don't need to be the best, the smartest, or the most experienced person there. You just need to be the one who believes in themselves the most, because confidence is everything. And it is already within you, waiting for you to unleash it. Confidence comes from knowing who you are. There is a reason why some people walk into a room and instantly own the space, while others shrink into the background, hoping to go unnoticed. It has nothing to do with physical appearance, intelligence, or status. It has everything to do with knowing who you are. Confidence is not something you borrow from others. It is something that comes from within. When you truly know yourself, the world cannot shake you. Most people spend their lives trying to fit into a mold, trying to be what others expect of them. They seek approval like a thirsty traveler searching for water. Do they like me? Am I good enough? What if they judge me? This constant need for validation weakens a person from the inside. Because the moment your confidence is dependent on someone else's opinion, you are no longer in control of your own life. If people praise you, you feel good. If they criticize you, you crumble. That is not confidence. That is slavery to the approval of others. Look at a child before the world teaches them fear. A child doesn't need to be told they are special. They simply believe it. They walk, they talk, they fall, they get up, they laugh. They don't question whether they are good enough. They just exist freely and fearlessly. But as they grow, society fills their mind with doubts. You should be like this. You should act like that. This is acceptable. That is not. Slowly they start questioning themselves. They start seeking permission to be who they are. And that is how confidence is stolen. One doubt at a time. Now imagine two people standing in front of a mirror. One looks at their reflection and sees every flaw, every imperfection. They think, I wish I looked different. I wish I was someone else. The other person looks at the same mirror and sees something entirely different. They see someone unique, someone valuable. Not because they are perfect, but because they accept themselves fully. The difference between these two people is not reality, it is perception. The first person does not know who they truly are, so they look for worth in the wrong places. The second person understands that their value is not determined by comparison, but by self-acceptance. Think of the most charismatic, powerful, and magnetic people you have met. They do not beg for attention, they attract it. They do not change themselves to fit in, they stand out effortlessly. Why? Because they know exactly who they are, and because they know they do not need the world to tell them. Their confidence is not borrowed, it is owned. Take, for example, a musician who creates their own unique sound. Some will love it, some will hate it. But the musician does not change to please everyone. They stay true to their art, and in doing so, they attract those who truly resonate with them. Now imagine another musician who constantly tries to copy trends, changing their style based on what's popular. They may gain temporary attention, but they will always feel lost, always chasing instead of leading. This is how life works. If you do not know who you are, you will always be running after external validation. But if you stand firm in your identity, the right people, opportunities, and success will find you. Confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. It is about being the most certain. It is about walking into a space and knowing that whether people accept you or not, you are still whole. It is about understanding that your value is not negotiable. The world will always have opinions. Some will support you, some will doubt you. But when you know who you are, their words do not define you. Their approval does not strengthen you, and their rejection does not weaken you. Think about a mountain. No matter how strong the wind blows, the mountain does not move. It does not shake because it knows it is solid, unbreakable. Your worth does not fluctuate based on people's changing opinions. You remain steady because you are grounded in self-awareness. The problem is, most people try to find themselves through external things, through relationships, through success, through material achievements. But all these things can be taken away. If your confidence is built on your job, what happens if you lose it? If your confidence is built on how you look, what happens as you age? If your confidence is built on someone else loving you, what happens if they leave? True confidence is built on something deeper. An unshakable knowing that no matter what happens in life, you are still enough. Imagine waking up every day and not questioning yourself. Imagine walking into every situation without fear of judgment. Imagine making choices based on what truly makes you happy rather than what will impress others. This is what it means to truly know yourself. And when you reach this level of self-awareness, confidence is no longer something you have to practice. It becomes a natural part of you. So if you want unbreakable confidence, stop looking outward. Stop seeking permission to be yourself. Stop waiting for someone to validate your worth. Look within. Ask yourself, who am I? Not who society says you should be. Not who your family expects you to be. Not who your fears have made you become. But who you truly are. And when you find that answer, hold on to it. Because the moment you truly know yourself, the world can no longer make you feel small. Confidence is built through action, not waiting. Most people make the mistake of waiting for confidence to appear before they take action. They think, once I feel ready, I'll do it. But that is not how confidence works. Confidence is not something you receive first and then act upon. It is something you build by taking action despite the fear. The truth is, waiting to feel confident before doing something is the biggest reason why people stay stuck in life. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a swimming pool, hesitant to jump in. They tell themselves, once I feel completely ready, I'll dive in. But here's the reality. No amount of thinking about the water will teach them how to swim. No amount of analyzing will make them more prepared than actually jumping in. The only way to become comfortable in the water is to get in, struggle a little and learn. Confidence works the same way. You don't wait until you're ready. You do it scared, and in doing so, you become ready. Think about your own life. How many times have you held yourself back because you didn't feel confident enough? Maybe it was speaking up in a meeting, asking for an opportunity, starting a new project, or approaching someone you admire. You told yourself, I'll do it when I feel more confident. But days passed, weeks passed, maybe even years, and nothing changed. Because confidence does not come from waiting, it comes from doing. Look at public speakers. People assume they are naturally confident, but that is not true. Most of them were once terrified of speaking in front of people. Their hands shook, their voices cracked, their hearts pounded. But they didn't wait for confidence to magically appear. They stepped onto the stage, nervous and unsure, and they did it anyway. Over time, as they kept doing it, their fear faded, their skills improved, and their confidence grew. Take another example, learning to ride a bicycle. No child feels confident the first time they try. They wobble, they fall, they scrape their knees, but they get back up, they keep pedaling, and eventually something magical happens. They stop thinking about balance, they stop doubting themselves, and they just ride. The confidence wasn't there at the start, it was built through action. The problem with waiting for confidence before taking action is that fear grows in the absence of action. The longer you wait, the more your mind creates reasons why you shouldn't do it. The fear multiplies, the self-doubt increases, and what once seemed like a small challenge starts feeling impossible. But the moment you take action, even a small step, fear begins to lose its power. Because action replaces doubt with experience. Imagine you want to start a business, you have an idea, but you hesitate. You think, I need to learn more, I need to be fully prepared. So you keep researching, planning, preparing, but months go by and you still haven't started. Why? Because knowledge without action does not create confidence. Now imagine if instead of waiting, you took a small step. You made your first sale, you launched a simple version of your product, you put yourself out there. Instantly, you gain experience. And with that experience comes confidence. It is the same with social confidence. People who seem effortlessly charismatic were not born that way. They were once just like everyone else, unsure, nervous, afraid of rejection. But instead of hiding, they took action. They talked to strangers, they made mistakes, they felt awkward, but they kept going. Over time, their fear faded, and their confidence became second nature. Now, think about what happens when you avoid action. Let's say you're afraid of talking to new people, so you always stay silent in social settings. At first, it's just one missed conversation. Then it becomes a habit. Over time, you convince yourself, I'm just not a social person. But the truth is, it's not that you lack confidence, it's that you never gave yourself the chance to build it. Every time you avoid action, you reinforce fear. Every time you take action, you reinforce confidence. The secret to unstoppable confidence is to act before you feel ready, to do things while you are still afraid, to understand that confidence is not something granted to the lucky few. It is something earned through experience. Every successful person you admire did not start as a confident expert. They started as a beginner who dared to take action before they felt ready. So the next time you find yourself hesitating, ask yourself, am I waiting for confidence or am I building it? Because confidence is not given, it is created. And it is created through action, not waiting. Confidence is the ability to handle rejection and failure. Rejection and failure are the two things most people fear the most. They avoid situations where they might hear no and they stay in their comfort zones to prevent failure. But here's the truth. Rejection and failure are not the enemies of confidence. They are the builders of it. The ability to face them head on, to get knocked down and stand up again, is what makes a person truly confident. Look around you. Who are the most confident people? They are not the ones who have never failed. They are the ones who have failed more times than others have even tried. They are not the ones who have never faced rejection. They are the ones who have faced it so many times that it no longer scares them. Confidence is not about avoiding rejection or failure. It is about knowing that no matter how many times it happens, it will not break you. Think about a child learning to walk. They take a step, they fall. They take another step, they fall again. They do not sit there crying, thinking, maybe walking is not for me. They do not overanalyze their failures. They simply get back up and try again. And eventually, without even realizing it, they start walking. This is the natural process of growth. But as people grow older, they lose this fearless attitude. They start taking failure personally. They start believing that rejection is a reflection of their worth. And so, they stop trying. Now, imagine two people go for the same job interview. One gets rejected and thinks, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I should lower my expectations. They stop applying for similar positions, afraid of another rejection. The second person, however, sees rejection differently. They think, this is part of the process. I will learn from this, improve and try again. Who do you think will eventually succeed? The second person. Because confidence is not about never facing rejection. It is about handling it with the right mindset. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that failure is a sign to stop. But look at any successful person and you will see a trail of failures behind them. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television. Imagine if they had taken rejection as a final answer. The world would have been robbed of their greatness. Rejection and failure are like weights in a gym. If you never lift anything heavy, your muscles do not grow. If you never face difficulties, your confidence does not grow. Every rejection is a test. Will you let it define you? Or will you use it to become stronger? Every failure is a lesson. Will you let it break you? Or will you learn from it and rise higher? Consider someone who wants to start a business. They launch their first product and nobody buys it. Most people would take this as a sign that they are not meant to be entrepreneurs. But those who truly understand confidence see it differently. They analyze what went wrong, adjust and try again and again and again. Eventually, after multiple failures, they find success. Not because they never failed, but because they refuse to let failure stop them. The same applies to relationships. Many people fear rejection in love. They hesitate to express their feelings, worried about being turned down. But think about it. If you never try, you have already rejected yourself. What is worse, hearing a no from someone or spending your life wondering, what if? Confidence in relationships comes from understanding that rejection is not personal. If someone does not see your value, it does not mean you have none. It simply means they were not the right person for you. There is a powerful shift that happens when you stop fearing rejection and failure. You start taking more risks. You stop playing small. You begin to see challenges as opportunities, not obstacles. Instead of being crushed by failure, you become curious about what you can learn from it. Instead of avoiding rejection, you face it boldly, knowing it cannot diminish you. Confidence is not about always winning. It is about knowing that even if you lose, you are still standing. It is about understanding that rejection and failure are not the end of the road. They are stepping stones on the path to success. The only people who never experience rejection are those who never step out of their comfort zone. The only people who never fail are those who never try. But those who embrace these experiences, who refuse to let them define their self-worth, those are the ones who become truly unstoppable. So the next time you face rejection, remind yourself, this is not a sign that you should stop. This is a sign that you are growing. The next time you fail, do not see it as proof that you are not good enough. See it as proof that you are learning, evolving, and moving forward. The only way to build unshakable confidence is to stop fearing rejection and failure. Because once you realize they cannot break you, you become limitless. Confidence comes from mastery, not fake positivity. Many people misunderstand confidence. They think it is about standing in front of a mirror, repeating affirmations like, I am powerful, I am strong, I can do this. But words alone do not create confidence. Mastery does. You can tell yourself 1,000 times that you are a great speaker, but until you actually speak, practice, and refine your skill, you will still feel unsure. Confidence is not built by faking it. It is built by becoming truly capable. Think about the first time you tried something new. Maybe you picked up a musical instrument, thinking you would play like a professional in no time. But then you pressed the keys or strummed the strings, and instead of beautiful music, all you heard was noise. If you were relying on positive thinking alone, you might have told yourself, I am talented, I can do this. But those words would not make your fingers move correctly. Instead, you needed hours of practice. You needed to get past the frustration, the mistakes, the slow progress. And only after many hours of effort did you start to play with confidence. Not because you told yourself you could, but because you proved to yourself that you could. Now imagine two people preparing for an exam. One spends their time repeating affirmations. I am smart. I will pass this exam. The other spends their time studying, practicing problems, reviewing notes. Who do you think will walk into that exam room with true confidence? The one who has mastered the material, not the one who relied on positive words alone. Confidence is like a tree. The deeper its roots, your skills, your experience, your mastery, the stronger it stands. But if you try to fake confidence without backing it up with real ability, it is like a tree without roots. The moment a storm comes, it falls. If you want to feel truly confident in any area of life, you must put in the work. You must master the craft, develop the skill, gain the knowledge. Then confidence will not be something you have to force. It will be something that naturally radiates from within you. Think about an athlete. When they step onto the field, they do not need to hype themselves up with fake confidence. They know they have trained, they have practiced, they have pushed their limits. Their confidence is not a mental trick. It is a reflection of their mastery. This is why great athletes can remain calm even under extreme pressure. They trust their abilities because they have earned that trust through relentless effort. The same applies in social situations. People often think that being confident in a conversation means pretending to be fearless. But true confidence in communication comes from experience. A person who has had hundreds of conversations, who has faced awkward moments, who has learned how to listen and respond, will naturally feel confident in any discussion. They do not need to act confident. They simply are, because they have mastered the skill of communication. Look at the most successful people in any field. They do not walk around trying to convince themselves they are good enough. They know they are because they have put in the effort to become great. A world-class chef does not doubt their cooking skills. A skilled pilot does not hesitate before taking off. A seasoned musician does not question whether they can play. Their confidence is not based on empty words. It is built on the foundation of mastery. But here is where most people go wrong. They want confidence first without putting in the work. They want to walk into a room and feel powerful without actually developing the skills that make someone powerful. They want to start a business and believe in themselves without taking the time to learn, experiment, and improve. They want to feel attractive without developing the charisma, self-care, and presence that makes someone truly magnetic. This is why so many people struggle with confidence. It is because they're trying to create an illusion instead of working towards real mastery. The truth is, confidence cannot be forced, it must be earned. If you feel nervous about something, ask yourself, do I truly know what I'm doing? If the answer is no, then no amount of positive thinking will help. The only solution is to get better. If you lack confidence in public speaking, do not stand in front of a mirror saying, I am a great speaker. Instead, practice speaking. Record yourself. Learn from your mistakes. Improve your delivery. The more you refine your skill, the less you will need to act confident, because you will simply be confident. There is no shortcut to true confidence. It is the result of countless hours spent getting better, pushing through failures, and refusing to settle for mediocrity. The good news is, once you build confidence this way, no one can take it away from you. It is not dependent on approval from others. It is not shaken by temporary setbacks. It becomes a part of who you are because it is rooted in real ability. So the next time you wish you were more confident, ask yourself, have I put in the work? If not, start there. Because the most powerful form of confidence is not the one you fake. It is the one you earn through mastery. Confidence is the ability to be unapologetically yourself. Most people spend their lives trying to fit in. They mold themselves according to what society expects, adjusting their personality, choices, and even dreams to gain approval. But here's the truth. Confidence is not about being accepted by others. It is about accepting yourself so completely that you no longer feel the need to seek validation. When you are unapologetically yourself, you do not waste energy pretending, performing, or pleasing. You simply exist in your full authenticity. And that is where true confidence begins. Think about the people who leave a lasting impact. They are not the ones who blend in with the crowd. They are the ones who stand out, who embrace their uniqueness without hesitation. Imagine an artist who creates a masterpiece but hesitates to share it because they are afraid of judgment. If they let fear control them, the world never sees their art. But if they embrace their truth and express themselves boldly, they inspire others to do the same. This is the power of being unapologetically yourself. When you stop filtering your existence for the comfort of others, you give permission for the real you to shine. But being yourself is not always easy. From childhood, people are taught to conform. Don't be too loud. Don't be too different. Don't say something that might upset others. Over time, these messages shape a person into someone who is afraid to stand out. They learn to silence their opinions, adjust their laughter, and hide their real thoughts. And with every small act of self-suppression, they lose a piece of their confidence. Because confidence cannot exist in a person who does not fully embrace who they are. Imagine walking into a room full of strangers. The average person would think, I hope they like me. But a truly confident person walks in thinking, I hope I like them. See the difference? One mindset is focused on gaining approval, while the other is focused on self-respect. The person who seeks approval will change their behavior to fit in, but the person who values themselves will stay true to who they are, no matter the situation. This is what makes a person magnetic, not their ability to impress others, but their refusal to betray themselves for validation. Think about your favorite musicians, actors, or leaders. They did not become icons by trying to be like everyone else. They became great because they leaned into their uniqueness. Imagine if someone told Muhammad Ali to be less confident, or if Lady Gaga was advised to dress normally. If they had listened, they would have faded into the background like everyone else, but because they embraced who they were fully, fearlessly, unapologetically, they became unforgettable. The same applies to you. If you spend your life trying to fit in, you will never stand out. But the moment you decide to be completely yourself, without apology, you become unstoppable. One of the biggest fears people have is being judged. They hold back their thoughts, hide their true emotions, and avoid taking risks because they do not want to be criticized. But here's the reality. No matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion about you. If you are too quiet, they will say you lack confidence. If you are too outspoken, they will say you are arrogant. If you take risks, they will call you reckless. If you play it safe, they will call you boring. So if you are going to be judged anyway, why not be judged for being who you truly are? Look at children. They dance without caring if they look silly. They ask questions without worrying if they sound dumb. They express excitement without wondering if it's too much. They are free. But as they grow older, they start shrinking themselves to avoid judgment. The tragedy is that many people never unlearn this fear. They go through life wearing masks, pretending to be something they are not, all because they believe being themselves is not enough. But the truth is, being yourself is not just enough. It is your greatest power. There is a natural confidence that comes with authenticity. When you stop pretending, you stop feeling insecure. When you stop seeking approval, you stop fearing rejection. When you embrace your quirks, your imperfections, and your truth, you become a force no one can shake. Because confidence is not about perfection, it is about realness. And realness is rare, which is why it is so powerful. Imagine a scenario where two people are speaking in front of a crowd. One is trying to impress, choosing every word carefully to sound smart. The other speaks naturally, with passion and honesty. Who do you think the audience connects with more? The second person. Why? Because people do not relate to perfection. They relate to authenticity. They connect with those who are unfiltered, raw, and real. The same applies to you. When you drop the act and allow yourself to be seen as you truly are, you attract people who appreciate you for you, not for the version you think they want. The greatest gift you can give yourself is permission to be exactly who you are. Stop apologizing for your personality. Stop dulling your shine to make others comfortable. Stop worrying about whether you are too much or not enough. The right people will appreciate you. The wrong ones never mattered. Confidence is not about convincing the world you are worthy. It is about knowing it within yourself so deeply that no one's opinion can shake it. So let go of the need to be liked. Let go of the pressure to conform. Let go of the fear of judgment. The world does not need another person trying to be like everyone else. It needs you, your voice, your passion, your truth. The moment you decide to be unapologetically yourself, you become untouchable. Because confidence is not something you fake, it is something you claim by fully embracing who you were always meant to be. Confidence comes from overcoming, not avoiding challenges. Most people want confidence, but they want it without the struggle. They want to feel strong without ever being tested, to feel courageous without ever facing fear. But confidence does not grow in comfort. It is built in the moments when you stand face to face with challenges and choose to push through them rather than run away. Imagine a child learning to ride a bicycle. In the beginning, they are terrified. They grip the handles too tightly. Their body is stiff with fear. The thought of falling consumes them. And yet, every time they wobble and nearly crash, something magical happens. They learn. They adjust. They adapt. And after a few falls, after scraped knees and frustrated sighs, something shifts. They stop fearing the fall and start trusting themselves. This is how confidence is built. Not by avoiding failure, but by facing it head on and proving to yourself that you can handle it. Many people think confidence means never being afraid. But that is not true. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act despite it. Picture a person standing at the edge of a diving board, hesitant to jump into the water below. Their heart pounds. Their mind races. But the moment they take that leap, something changes. The fear that seemed so big a second ago disappears. And when they climb back up, ready to jump again, they do so with ease. Why? Because the fear has been replaced by experience. The more they jumped, the less power fear had over them. This is what happens in life. The challenges that scare you today will one day be the things you handle with ease if you have the courage to face them. Think about your own experiences. There were things that once terrified you, but now you do without a second thought. The first time you drove a car, you were probably nervous. You checked the mirrors 100 times, your hands tight on the wheel. But after enough practice, driving became second nature. Confidence came from the experience, from overcoming hesitation, from proving to yourself that you could do it. The same applies to every area of life. If you want confidence in your career, you must be willing to take on challenges, to step into situations where you are uncertain, to learn from mistakes. If you want confidence in relationships, you must be willing to be vulnerable, to face difficult conversations, to risk rejection. If you want confidence in yourself, you must be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, to do the things that scare you, to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your doubts. Avoiding challenges does not keep you safe. It keeps you small. It keeps you stuck in the same place, never growing, never evolving. But every time you face a challenge, even if you stumble, even if you fail, you become stronger. The fear that once controlled you starts to fade. The hesitation that once held you back begins to disappear. Imagine an athlete training for a marathon. If they avoid running because it is difficult, they will never build the stamina to complete the race. But if they push through, if they keep running even when their legs ache and their breath is short, something incredible happens. Their endurance increases, their body adapts, and one day what once seemed impossible becomes effortless. Confidence works the same way. It is not something you're born with, it is something you build through experience, through resilience, through refusing to give up. Think about the people you admire, leaders, artists, entrepreneurs, athletes. Do you think they got where they are by playing it safe? No, they got there because they faced challenges. They took risks. They stepped into the unknown. They failed, learned, adapted, and tried again. And with every obstacle they overcame, their confidence grew. But here is where most people go wrong. They wait for confidence before they act. They think, I will do it when I feel ready. But readiness never comes. If you wait for confidence before facing challenges, you will wait forever. Confidence does not come first, action does. You must take the step even when you are afraid, even when you are uncertain. And only after you take that step, after you see that you survived, after you realize that you are capable, does confidence begin to grow. The greatest mistake people make is thinking that failure means they are not good enough. But failure is not the opposite of confidence. It is part of the process. Every successful person has failed more times than the average person has even tried. The difference is, they did not let failure stop them. They used it as a lesson. They let it shape them, refine them, strengthen them. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal is heated, hammered, shaped, and refined over and over again. Every strike makes it stronger. Every moment in the fire makes it more resilient. This is how confidence is built. It is not given, it is forged. Every challenge you overcome is a hammer strike, shaping you, making you stronger. Every failure is fire, refining you, burning away self-doubt. If you embrace the process, if you keep pushing forward, you will emerge unshakable. So the next time you face a challenge, do not run from it. Do not shrink in fear. Step into it. Face it. Because every challenge you conquer is another brick in the foundation of your confidence. And when you build confidence this way, through experience, through overcoming, through resilience, it is not something that can be shaken. It is not dependent on external validation. It becomes a part of who you are, rooted deep within, unbreakable. Confidence is the ability to stand alone. There is a kind of power in a person who is unafraid to stand alone. A power that does not come from the approval of others, but from something deeper. An unshakable trust in oneself. Most people seek comfort in crowds. They want validation. They want someone to tell them they are right, that they belong, that they are accepted. But true confidence does not come from belonging to a group. It comes from knowing that even if you are the only one standing in your truth, you will not waver. Think about a tree standing on top of a hill. The wind blows, the storms come, but it does not fall. Why? Because its roots go deep. It is not dependent on the trees around it to stand tall. It draws strength from within. This is what confidence is. When you rely on others to give you confidence, you're like a weak tree with shallow roots. If the crowd leaves, if people stop validating you, you fall. But when your confidence comes from within, no external force can shake you. Look at history. Every great leader, every visionary, every person who changed the world had to stand alone at some point. They had to believe in something when no one else did. They had to trust themselves when others doubted them. If they had waited for approval, if they had needed constant reassurance, their ideas would have died before they even started. Confidence is not about fitting in. It is about standing firm, even when you are the only one who sees the vision. Think about a moment in your own life when you had to stand alone. Maybe it was choosing a path that others did not understand. Maybe it was speaking up for something you believed in when everyone else stayed silent. Maybe it was walking away from a situation that no longer served you, even when it meant being alone for a while. In those moments, you were not weak, you were powerful. Because to stand alone takes more courage than to blend in. Most people avoid standing alone because they fear judgment. They fear what others will say. They fear being misunderstood. But ask yourself, who are these people you are afraid of? Who are these voices that hold so much power over your decisions? The truth is, most people are too caught up in their own fears, their own struggles, their own insecurities, to truly think about you. And even if they do judge you, what does it change? Does their opinion change who you are? Does it alter your potential? No. The only thing that truly matters is what you believe about yourself. Imagine an artist painting a masterpiece. If they stop every few minutes to ask people for feedback, adjusting the painting to match every opinion, what happens? The painting loses its original essence. It becomes a collection of others' ideas, not the artist's true vision. But if the artist trusts their own hands, their own eyes, their own instinct, the result is something authentic, something powerful. Life is the same way. If you constantly seek approval, you lose yourself. But if you trust your path, even if no one else understands it, you create something real, something meaningful. There is a saying, lions do not concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. This is not arrogance, it is clarity. A lion does not seek approval before it roars. It does not wait for permission to take its place in the wild. It simply is what it is. Strong, fearless, unapologetic. If you want true confidence, you must become like that. You must walk your path not because others agree with it, but because you know it is right for you. Think about people who inspire you. Were they people who followed the crowd, who hesitated, who needed constant approval? Or were they people who stood strong, who walked alone when necessary, who refused to shrink themselves to fit into places they had outgrown? The world does not remember those who blend in. It remembers those who dared to be different. But standing alone does not mean isolation. It does not mean pushing people away or refusing support. It simply means that your confidence is not dependent on others. It means that you can walk alone when needed, without fear, without hesitation. It means that your worth is not measured by how many people agree with you, but by how strongly you believe in yourself. Confidence is the ability to stand alone in a world that constantly tells you to fit in. It is the ability to trust yourself even when others doubt you. It is the ability to walk your path with certainty, knowing that even if you are the only one who sees the road ahead, it is still worth walking. So the next time you feel uncertain, the next time you question yourself, remember this: you are enough, even when you are standing alone. And in that solitude, you will find your greatest strength. Confidence is expressed through actions, not words. Confidence is not something you announce, it is something you embody. A truly confident person does not go around telling people, I am confident. They do not need to. It is in their walk, their tone, their decisions. It is in the way they handle situations, the way they face challenges, the way they carry themselves. Confidence is silent, but its impact is loud. Look at the people you admire, the ones who walk into a room and immediately command respect. They do not demand attention. They do not boast about their abilities, but something about them makes you notice. Their presence speaks before they do. This is because confidence is not in what they say, it is in who they are. Imagine two people applying for the same job. One of them walks in and says, "I am the best for this job. I know I can do it." The other simply walks in, makes eye contact, listens carefully, answers questions with clarity, and remains calm under pressure. Which one do you think exudes real confidence?